our region's business. Innovation, transformation, momentum, improving our communities and driving technologies that will shape our region for generations. The collaboration that brings vitality, prosperity, and life to living. Stay with us for the coming half hour as we examine in depth our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's Business, the local company that tracked down leaked plans for President Obama's helicopter on the internet, plus breaking ground on Pittsburgh's newest and maybe narrowest park. But first, the commercial real estate outlook for 2009. Nationwide, it's pretty dreadful. Regionally, it's no picnic, but it's nowhere near as bad. Duke Kingsley is Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Grubb Ellis Company in Pittsburgh. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bill. It's good to be here.
Yeah, you all recently had a terrific session for the business community with the outlook for real estate in our region on the commercial side. What's your take right now? Obviously, enormous level of uncertainty still nationally.
Absolutely, Bill. It's pretty difficult on the West Coast, and actually New York's going to be pretty tough as well. But we're faring pretty well when you look at the rest of the country. So I hate to use the term everybody's heard it. We're cautiously optimistic.
Well, Pittsburgh, our region, carried a lot of momentum into the recession that other places didn't have.
That's correct. We had a number of good transactions last year, and we have some good stories with Westinghouse and some of the other corporations and law firms and so forth that have made plans to relocate during 2009. It's very promising.
So that's a nice story immediately, right, in 2009, yes, as some of these new buildings get filled up. But what do you kind of see happening out there in terms of what's coming next?
Well, it's going to be a difficult year because of a lot of companies, whether it's a corporation or a law firm or real estate company, they're really slow in their decision process at this point. Now, there are going to be positive transactions and good news out there, but you know, a lot of it gets back to the financial crisis that we're all experiencing and who's going to be able to make some decisions going forward.
Well, that gets to be a question. I mean, if somebody wants to do a commercial real estate deal right now, can they even borrow the money to get it done?
Oh yes, there are banks out there that are active, and you have to look around for them, but there are some very stable banks out there that are providing money, and other lenders that are also supplying the landlords with the funds necessary to do the transaction.
Is that more true here in this region than nationwide, or can you still do financing everywhere at this point?
I think it's true more in this region than perhaps nationwide, but I think it's also true across the country. It's just slower to take place.
So where does this leave you in this kind of a climate if you own a building, whether it's office, commercial, industrial, residential? I mean, what do you have to look forward to?
Well, you mentioned we had a forecast this past week, and we had Bob Bach from our corporate office, the chief economist, and we were fortunate enough to have Stuart Hoffman there as well. And both of them have pointed out that it's going to be tough sledding for a good bit of this year, but they see it turning around at the end of the year.
Okay, so a little soft in the short run, but
I guess it might be a little more than a little soft, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel, that's for sure.
From a tenant standpoint, I would think if you're looking to move or expand, you're a little more in the driver's seat right now.
Absolutely, there are some good opportunities out there, whether it's some vacant space in existing buildings or there are some sublease opportunities as well.
Now, is it different if you look? You know, our region's pretty big, multi-state essentially. But when from like place to place, is the picture different? Is downtown Pittsburgh different than the suburbs right now in terms of what's going on?
Well, downtown our occupancy, or our vacancy is about 16%, and the suburbs have historically been a little better. They have seen a little difficulty as well, but I think there are opportunities in both areas, in both markets, whether suburbs or downtown.
Is it mostly newer spaces still in demand, or is there a difference if it's an older building versus a newer building?
Well, I think you're going to see opportunities in all of the buildings, to be frank. All of the landlords are going to be aggressive. They understand what the economics are, and there are vacancies in the older buildings as well as the new buildings.
Yeah, it didn't sound from, you had Stuart Hoffman on in the presentation as well, and it didn't sound like there's a lot of hope for economic recovery at the earliest until the very end of this year.
Yes, and I would think most of the people in our industry would agree with that. Although we're hopeful, and we may, if we continue to get good news, and good news spreads quickly. So I think if the confidence level of the business community can increase, we'll be all very, very appreciative of that.
Well, I know just recently I saw the consumer spending, a little bit on the retail sales. There might have been some encouraging signs out there outside of auto. We don't seem to be experiencing the issues in the retail real estate market that's true across the United States. It seems a little more stable here.
It's a little more stable, but it's still impacting the retail market here.
Yeah?
Yes.
In what way? Just well, we saw Circuit City is a good example.
Just Circuit City, Value City, a number of the others. But we still have a lot of the local and regional retailers that are very strong and doing well. But we are impacted. There's no question about that.
Yeah, we've ridden through recessions before in this region over the past couple of decades. So, what's the strategy, in dealing with a time like this?
Well, I think it's just really getting back to basics and paying attention to the fundamentals of what makes sense in a good real estate transaction. And I think last quarter we saw that occur. People started getting back to the basics more and avoiding the problems that perhaps got us into this mess a year and a half ago. Yeah,
did you see much of the kinds of issues that seem to cause so much trouble in other parts of the country around here, or has this been a more conservative place all
I
the way
did not
through?
see the difficulties. I think our conservative nature has really helped us.
Okay, well, something to be said for being slow and steady. Huh?
That's right. That's right.
Well, hopefully it'll carry us through the recession as well. Duke Kingsley from Grubb Ellis. Appreciate it. Thanks for the update.
Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate it.
Next up, Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C. got a bit closer by bike trail. Stay with us.